Loose cannons blasting on them haters. Now when I say the loose cannons, what? Do you know what I mean? I'm talking Bobby Latte, Stank Bastard, and Samurai Lee. You ain't never seen no hurt before, no podcast like this. These boys entertain you, then take you on road trips, go to other cities, raid and pillage, watch Bucs kick ass. If we in the stands and fans talk shit, we gon' whoop them fans. You'll see us in the red and pewter with the white and black. Might be high, drunk as fuck, straight talking smack. If it's a home game, best believe you gon' hear this chant. It be like B-U-C-C-A-N-E-E-R-S. B-U-C-C-A-N-E-E-R-S. One more time. B-U-C-C-A-N-E-E-R-S. We in Tampa, baby. B813 going crazy. This Bucs podcast be the greatest. Loose cannons blasting on them haters. And we in Tampa, baby. B813 going crazy. This Bucs podcast be the greatest.
What is up, Bucs Nation? It is Monday, Victory Monday, December 2nd, 2024, and you're watching the Loose Cannons podcast. I am your host, the Samurai Ali, joined by not only one intern, but two interns. I got intern Stanker with the fuck'em hat and the palest skin I have ever seen on this side of the Mississippi. And some of you guys know this intern in particular, intern Izzy. He's been known to have to post push-up videos on Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it, because he sometimes gets lippy with his boss, okay? And sometimes I got to put down the hammer, all right? And that means you're going to have to do 25 push-ups, maybe run a couple laps, whatever it is. Intern Izzy, say hi to the people out there in Bucs Nation.
What is going on, Loose Cannons crew? Wow, finally on the show.
That was terrible.
But, hey, look. Hey, look. Don't do this to me. My first time on the show, man. I'm trying.
It sounded like a skating rink DJ.
Yeah. Are you gonna tell us what's the next Mariah Carey song you have on deck?
All I Want for Christmas Is You. I think that's like the popular song right now because we are in December already.
No. All right.
Yeah.
So anyway,
that's right. He's right about that. He's right about that.
It is. I'm going to hear it everywhere. So that's why I don't go in public during December. I wait until January 3rd to finally leave the cave. Stanker, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they gave us a reason to put on these victory shades yesterday, last night, yesterday evening, whatever you want to call it. They go up to Carolina, come away with an ugly, but a W, okay? A win is a win is a win is a win, right? And like your hat says, fuck all those people that are complaining about it. We got a win. It wasn't pretty. It was literally the ugliest of wins. But you know what? It's a win. Not everything's going to be perfect. No team is above an ugly win. It doesn't matter how good or how bad you are. Sometimes you just got to go out there and just tough one out. Not everything goes your way. Buccaneers 26-23 win one in overtime on the second field goal that they attempted in overtime, by the way, which is rare. Usually it's one and done. You get a chance. Usually you're not going to come back and have another one. Bucs end up pulling it out, coming home on a 2-game win streak now. The division is 1,000% up for grabs, Stanker. Ooh, what a Sunday evening, huh?
Man, that game took some days off of our lives for sure. Mm-hmm. And as angry as I was during the game, for some reason, it just lifted. As soon as we kicked that fucking field goal, I was able to exhale. My wife watched the game with me, first time in since Brady's been here, since she decided to watch game with me. She was sick over the whole thing. She was angry. She was saying, fuck this team, even after we won. And then I go on Twitter, and that's what everybody else is saying. Fuck this team. Let's still fire Ty Bowles. The same shit we all saw. But for some reason, I came out feeling great because I fully expected that we were going to lose that game. It didn't feel good from the get-go. And to pull victory from the jaws of defeat is the opposite of what this team normally does. And that just made me feel good. So I feel like $1 million right now, man.
We're 0-2. We were 0-2 going into that game in overtime games. All right. That's the game that we usually lose. We're on the other end of the stick in that regard. So I looked at it then and I was like, hey, I had a lot of shit to complain about during the game. My tweets tell quite a different story than I'm looking right now. But hey, we won a game that you and I, Stank, and you probably more than me, have seen many a time go the complete opposite direction. We've never won the ugly games usually. It's been terrible all season. We've had terrible luck in terms of overtimes and fourth quarter comebacks, last minute field goals, the whole deal. I mean, just between the Falcons and the Chiefs and just all of it. So for us to come out with a win, I'll take it all day. It does not matter. But we'll talk about some actual stuff now. So Baker Mayfield, I got to start the quarterback. Baker wasn't perfect yesterday by any stretch of the imagination. Some of that's on the offensive line. Some of it is on Baker. Most of it's on Baker. Some of it is on Liam. Some of it is on circumstance. Some of it's on just, not getting the perfect situation, which you're not going to have most of the time in the NFL. But when it mattered most, Stank, guy was clutch, dude. Guy was clutch. Bum ankle. I mean, pulling off that run to get that first down, get an extra 11, 12 yards. Next play, we end up getting, a nice chunk of yardage to get us into a field goal range. And then we kick the field goal to go to overtime. One of his best drives, if not the best drive of the game for him, in 30 seconds, right? We're left 30 seconds. We're down 3. Most of the time, that's game over. He uses timeouts well. He made clutch throws. He made clutch decisions with his feet. And, Baker against the wall. That's just how he functions best, it seems, regardless of if he starts hot or starts slow. When it matters most, the guy does clutch up, and he's a stud, man. We got to give him props. As bad as he played, maybe his worst game as a Buc, Stank. But he clutched up.
One of his worst games, that's for sure. This didn't look good from the get-go. It looked like he was seeing the pressure right away. Hats off to Dave Canales and the Panthers. They put together a good game plan. Obviously, they kind of probably know what Baker doesn't like, and they gave him quite a bit of that. Felt a lot of it was he was panicking in the pocket even before the pressure got to him. And this passing game needs Jesus. It needs something. We can continue to force the ball to Mike, and he's more often than not going to come down with the ball. But what about the other fucking guys out there? People are taking away Cade now, so one of these other guys has to step up.
Cade's taking away Cade too, dropping balls left and right.
He dropped some passes. Everything just looked out of sync yesterday. To quote Lovie Smith, we just weren't in sync. The energy wasn't there. It looked like we were moving slower than it just didn't look good. Like we were fucking full of turkey, full of tryptophan in our bloodstreams. I don't know what it was. It took a while for them to swing back. And maybe they took this team lightly. I don't know what it was, man. It just looked ugly from the get-go.
There were some ugly games coming out of Thanksgiving, honestly, all across the league. It wasn't just the Bucs. I do think it's one of those holiday-type scenarios where teams just kind of come out slow, sluggish, maybe, like you said, a little bit too much food. But we'll get to the offense as a whole, I think, on the last subject of the night. But in terms of Baker, man, he looked uncomfortable. And whether that was, Liam, whether that was, the offensive line, I don't think they pass blocked particularly well yesterday, even though they're supposed to be pretty good. They didn't look like they had the quick passing game really functioning too well. And of course, the penalties didn't help. And then Baker just looked skittish, man. And I wonder if that had to do with Dave knowing what he doesn't like and having to kind of communicate that to his defensive coordinator. But I feel like you could look at tape as any defensive coordinator in the league and find out what he does and doesn't like. How much of that plays into coming from Dime Piece Dave, I don't know how much of that I could buy into, but he definitely didn't look comfortable. I don't think we made him comfortable either.
Hammer, are you saying that the real distraction was Dave himself? Baker just was looking over there, and you just see Dave's jawline.
And he's out there just like yelling out positive shit.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I'm proud of you.
He's rooting Baker on. Yeah. Baker, you look good out there today,
I love you, man.
I love you, bro.
Yeah,
and you just can't stop. He's so used to hearing and looking at him, and you don't want to look at the other fucking sideline and see just Liam's grotesque.
He was positivity bullying him.
Yeah, he was positivity bullying, but you see Liam on the other side, kind of looks like a Muppet that got left out in the sun too long. I don't know, whatever the case is. And then you see Dave over there glowing on the other side. Just this aura of positivity. Everybody on the other side smiling with 2 wins or 3 wins or whatever the fuck they got. And you just maybe he just missed them. Maybe that's what it was. He missed them.
Yeah. Yeah. To bring it back to a serious note, I have to say, Baker can't play like that.
No.
Again, the rest of the year. He just can't play like that for this team right now. There's no Chris Godwin. There's no security blanket there. Mike Evans still doesn't look 100% to me.
No, definitely not.
And so it was good to see Tristan Wirfs out there. Didn't miss a beat. Dude's a monster. Could have probably played last week if it was like a playoff game or some scenario of that nature. But Baker's got to get these games out of his system now. He's pretty inconsistent throughout his career. That's been the massive knock on him. And he's been able to kind of shed some of that this year, but he's had his moments. Even throughout games, he's not consistent, all 60 minutes aside from maybe a couple of games this year. But yesterday's game, I'm glad he got that out of his system yesterday, not, down the road here. I think against the Chargers. Yeah, I can't have that game against a Chargers type team who I believe leads the league in points allowed, in terms of keeping people from scoring points. Sorry. They're one of the best defenses in the league. They're physical. They catch passes. They caught 4 interceptions off of Kirko yesterday. So, Baker's got to have his A game moving forward, in my opinion, for this team to even have a chance. And we saw what that equalizer feels like when he's not on his game. Liam's not on his game. The passing, the pass protection's not on its game. It looks like that yesterday against a team that I don't think we had any business even competing, being that in a slugfest with. But it is a division game. So, like we said earlier, win doesn't win. But Baker's got to be better, man, for sure.
Thank God for Bucky, right?
Yeah, I believe he's the next topic too.
Hey, before we jump into the next topic, hey, my bad.
Is that intern Betty? Oh, it's intern Izzy.
Hey guys, hi. So real quick, just want to throw a.
You just hit. Hold on, Izzy. When did you hit puberty?
Do you want me to use my deep voice?
There you go. Whoa.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That's way fucking better. Where did that voice come from? People who are just joining the show right now are probably extremely confused. Sammer, behind the curtain, behind Sammer, you guys can't see back there, behind that white curtain, he has somebody on the show with us.
We have an intern Izzy. He's going to be part of the show moving forward. He's going to help us with some production stuff so I can keep my hands free so I can continue to talk with them. All right. And sometimes he's going to chime in. We might need to come up with some sort of a bell system for you to talk, because I don't like how you just interrupt me speaking, right? I was in a segue to a next topic, and you're like,
I apologize.
Excuse me,
no,
sir.
It sounded like it was a little kid. It sounded like it was a little kid in a well.
Yeah.
Guys.
Or you were going to ask me if I wanted paper or plastic before you started bagging my groceries.
That I could have.
Whoa.
Yeah. Sir, is that paper or plastic, sir? Izzy,
anyways,
you're an intern. We're gonna beat the shit out of you.
Yeah, Izzy, you have the floor, sir. What were you going to say?
What did you want to add?
So, real quick, just to give you an idea of what Baker did in the fourth quarter and in overtime, just to show you how clutch he was. Granted, he was very inconsistent, but in the fourth quarter and overtime, with those 30 seconds and what he did, 11 of 12, 114 yards, 11.9 yard average, no turnovers. And this is something we've seen with Baker throughout his season or throughout his entire career. When the chips are, when his back is against the wall, I think he thrives in that. Now, granted, the interceptions did not need them, but when it came down to like making the clutch plays, making those throws that he needed to make, he has a sixth sense of like finding those guys and fitting the ball in the tight window. Like, it's uncanny of him to do that, but I digress.
All right.
Yeah,
you're kind of like our stats guy now.
Yeah, I like that. That was the kind of interjection, because numbers are not my thing, as most of the people know on here. I don't even really know what they are. Yeah, you could say he stepped up. I like to think he sacked up. Baker seems like a sack up kind of guy, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like 11 of 12 in the time where you need to have, you need to put your dick on the table. We haven't said that in a long time, right? But Baker, he did. He pulled it out. He showed everybody what he was working with. He sacked up. He nutted up. All those beautiful terms, and he carried this team to victory.
Baker has
along with Rashad White.
Baker has dick on the table written all over him, right?
He does. He does. He was definitely the friend you all of a sudden you look over and his dick's out, and we're like, bro, what the fuck are you doing, dude? He's like, trying to make you laugh.
He's not even trying to make you laugh. He just wants you to feel bad about yourself. That's what he's doing.
It could be that.
So we got a super chat real quickly. $5 from Mac. Cam Johnson was hyped during training camp. He's coming off of IR soon. Could he be our missing wide receiver too?
I'll be all for it. I don't care. Yeah. I just want somebody to be any type of wide. I think Baker's probably having a bit of a hard time. sitting back and handing the ball off as much as he has to right now, and just kind of relying on the run game. He's used to being the guy winging the ball around. When we had all of our weapons, he was out there slinging it, and now we're having to rely on something completely different. Maybe he's out there just pressing when he doesn't need to be.
Yeah, this might be a little bit of that. I still think they should run the ball more regardless. But yeah, I could see I only get so many chances. I'm going to go make the most out of it. Because he had a couple of chances yesterday to just throw the ball to Rashad or throw the ball to Bucky, and the guys were open, and he clutched. That throw he ended up throwing to Cade. He clutched 3 times to the guy in the corner. Is like, I'm right here. All right. And he basically brought the attention of the corner to Cade on, and then he makes the throw. And you're like, you can't pump fake and then throw to the spot. You pump fake. That's massive no-no. You learned that in middle school. But anyway, speaking of Bucky, okay? Bucky was electric yesterday. Absolutely electric. Guy got nicked up, still performed. I think he had almost 200 yards of total offense yesterday. He was just an absolute dog out there, breaking tackles, creatively running the ball. Liam creatively coming up with schemes and blocking, situations and calls for him as well. But the running unit, the entire, rushing unit as a team, from the O-line to Bucky to Rashad, who averaged 6.9 yards a carry yesterday, for the people who like to hate on him a lot. They just all played really, really well together. And I think we, kind of got back in terms of back into the game and calm ourselves down when we decided, let's just lean on this run game. And Liam did it. He handed the ball off. I think it was 6 times on this. It was like 11 of the 12 plays went to Bucky. We ran the ball down the field. We scored a touchdown, and everything felt back to, okay, take a deep breath. We're the Bucs. They're the Panthers. We're back in this. And it all started by running the ball. And so, again, the unit looks sharp week in, week out. I think we could lean on it a little bit more, honestly, than we do. But, again, Bucky was just such a dog yesterday. Massive shout out to our guy Rashad coming in there, making plays in the fourth quarter when he had to, when Bucky was nicked up, and he made that massive 38-yard run that basically sealed the deal, got us into field goal range, won the game, got us the fuck out of Charlotte. So, yeah, Bucky Irving, I can't say enough about this kid. He's just fun to watch, man, and he's fitting into this offense beautifully. Liam's still figuring out how to use him and Rashad together still, but I think once he gets it all figured out, we have weapons everywhere, man. It's just about getting the ball to them at this point and making up for, Chris Godwin's absence.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. They're completely 2 different animals. Bucky is that quick to the hole slasher, really elite vision, good feel. He's got all those things. Rashad, man, he's a different type of weapon. He's got that ability too, but I think he just needs some push up front to get rolling. But I don't know. That play at the end, man, he really surprised me, with his vision there. And clearly he's a weapon in the passing game. Not sure why we didn't throw it to our backs. I'm not sure why we went away from the quick pass game, underneath passing game. Maybe they overthought it a little bit. I'm not, it's hard to say why, or they just saw that Carolina was just such a terrible fucking run defense that they that was the game plan going in, and they didn't want to try to do too much. Whatever the case may be, Liam, I don't think called a great game at all, and left a lot to be desired out there. And maybe he was also intimidated, by being on the other sideline. I don't know.
I think some of it. So a lot of people have been talking about how the Bucs pass protection has been really, really good all season long. But if you look at the actual calls that we're making, there's a lot of quick passes. It's almost like the offensive coordinator's calling plays as if he doesn't have a good pass protection unit up front. And some of those numbers might be skewed.
Are we a good pass protection team?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I don't know how good we actually are, because I think those numbers might be a little skewed because we're throwing so quickly to the backs, to the tight ends, to the wide receivers, that it maybe skews that a little bit. And then they go into the game against the Panthers, who are the worst at getting to the passer, the worst at getting the quarterback down. And they're like, hey, let's open it up a little bit. And then you saw we struggled in pass pro, whether it was Bredesen, whether it was Graham Barton, whether it was Mock, even though he most of the time had a pretty good day. And then Luke Gedeke, like these guys, all as unit, it seemed like one guy or the other would have a bad moment, or they'd have a false start, or they'd have some sort of, pre-snap penalty that would kill it. And it just felt like, man, these guys can't pass pro against one of the worst pass rushing units in the NFL. And you start thinking, maybe they're not as good as we think numbers-wise. And some of that is skewed by the fact that we throw the ball so quickly. And we saw that yesterday. And I think that's why they went away from what they've been doing, which is to kind of protect that, right? So it was interesting to see it play out the way it did, and that kind of jogged my thought process there when you mentioned that they completely went away from the quick passing game, giving it to the backs. I still think they need to get the ball to Rashad in the flat somehow on a screen pass way more than they do. And I'm not saying that because I'm his buddy, but I think we're leaving a lot to be desired, like you said, Stink. I think I tweeted something like Liam is still leaving a lot on the bone for both of these running backs, not just one or the other, both of them. But we'll get to Liam at the end of the show. I'm sure Izzy's going to
I think it's more than that.
Stat.
Yeah, and Izzy, feel free to chirp in, but I don't. I mean, we're dealing with the 70% Mike Evans, and I just don't think we're that talented out of Mike. I don't know, man. Jalen McMillan always looks like he's covered. Made a big catch. Sterling flashes, and then he looks equally as awful on the next play, on the next series. He blows an entire series up by lining up offsides, and it's just dumb shit with that guy. You really can't trust him. And then Trey Palmer may as well have been cut along with that punter today because he just doesn't exist on this football team.
Yeah.
Maybe Johnson comes back and ends up being something for this, but there's just not very many options out there. I think Baker knows that.
It's weird how they use some of them too, Stank. So like Sterling Shepard end around play. I'd like to see that go to Trey Palmer. He's younger, he's faster, he's got more straight line speed. If he gets, around that corner, he's probably gone. And we don't also call plays to get those quick slants into those speedier guys' hands. I don't know if that's a trust thing. I don't know if that's, hey, if the ball bounces up, it's usually going to be a pick. But you'd think that if you had these younger guys, that you find ways to just get the ball in their hands quickly and not, and try to mitigate that risk. But they didn't seem to be doing that. And that's, I nitpick a little bit on Liam, and some of it is from that. Okay, not sure what just happened here.
That's me.
Yeah, what the heck, Izzy? The fuck?
Look at already, bro.
Hey,
already.
This time I was respectful. I raised my hand on this one.
Yeah, but when you did that, you ruined all of our look.
Oh, my bad. Oh, yeah. Shoot. What the heck? Whoa.
Everybody in the chat's freaking out. Yeah, Cali Bucks' dial-up service just went out. I think you just, blew up his internet, or his mom yelled at him because, they share one AOL line.
What do you need to see? What do you need to say, Izzy? I mean,
Cali Bucks says, who is this guy? Go ahead, Izzy.
Okay, so Bucky Irving, phenomenal. 25 carries, 152 yards rushing, 1 touchdown, 3 receptions for 33 yards, 185 yards combined. And Bucky has been a gem. 4th round pick. Jason Light, again, hitting on a draft pick that just shined in more ways than one. I think he leads the league rookie-wise with touchdowns, yards, from scrimmage, carrying wise and whatnot. So we got a stud here. And also, the whole Trey Palmer wide receiver situation, just kind of want to chime in on that. Last year, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Trey Palmer was the 3, and we kind of saw him shine. We get McMillan. He comes in. There's kind of a battle between them two. Who's going to be wide receiver 3 beside Godwin and Evans? Godwin goes down. Then you got Palmer and McMillan trying to find their spot. You bring in Sterling Shepard.
Izzy, you're supposed to chime in, not give us the fucking backstory.
I know, I like it.
I know. I'm just saying,
are you doing like an NFL Network's narration here? What are you doing? NFL Films with Izzy.
No, but the thing though, for me, is I look at it there's a consistent situation where the chemistry hasn't been built yet, and that's something I think a lot of us are seeing.
There you go.
I think it's way too far in the season right now to blame it on chemistry. I don't know, man. I think it's the Chris Godwin injury. I think put Liam in a different mode. He's had to reinvent this offense. That's when we started seeing these 3-back sets, and I just think he's completely changed the direction that this offense is having to take. He's still been able to put up, a decent amount of numbers, and had it not been for Baker throwing the ball to the other team this week, I think numbers wise, it wouldn't have been that far off. But
no, I think you're onto something there, Stank, which I rarely say. But Chris Godwin was the transmission of this vehicle, right? And all of a sudden, he's gone. And when you rip a transmission out of a car, you're not getting far, if anywhere. And so he's had to figure out ways to rebuild that transmission and find ways to get the ball rolling and move this vehicle. Sometimes it's been through Cade Otton getting those quick passes and getting absolutely blown up every time he touches the ball. Sometimes it's been getting Rashad White and Bucky Irving on the flats, and just swing passes as the extensions of the run. Sometimes it's been just running the ball up the middle. So some of that's kind of gone into figuring out a way to replace Chris, because this offense was designed, as you see with the Rams, where it runs exclusively through Kupp or Puka. It runs through Chris Godwin. And when he's out of it, it does not to say it doesn't work, but it's a lot tougher for everybody involved. And Chris Godwin makes it even better because Chris Godwin is so much better than anyone else that would be chosen to run that, that position on this offense if you were bringing a guy from the outside, for instance. So, yeah, having to replace that is hard.
Sammer, Christopher Cole says, where are the deep balls to Palmer? Hey, Christopher, where are the deep balls to anyone? Where are the passes, 20 yards down the field? There's none of it. And they're just allowing the defense to just come and crouch the line. And I don't know.
That's why I keep saying,
I don't know.
I don't think they trust the offensive line, Stank. You can sit there and tell me what the stats say all day, but the way he calls plays for this team, it doesn't look like he's calling plays as an offensive coordinator that doesn't trust his offensive line. And I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not saying, I'm just a hypothesis, for instance. Okay. I really don't see it that it looks like that. Because like you're saying, if you have trust in this offensive line, you're going 5-step drop. Guys, good as far fucking deep as you can. We're throwing the ball. We don't see it, man. We haven't seen a deep ball in, I can't even remember. The Mike Evans drop in the end zone against the Ravens when he pulled his hamstring forever. That may have been the last deep pass truly that we completed. It's been a while, man. It's not there. And I think maybe part of that is Chris Godwin. Who knows? Because he can bring guys up, and attention comes to him and whatnot. Then you got things over the top that you can kind of work with Sterling and Trey and all those guys. But they got to figure out ways to manufacture touches for these other guys that aren't difficult, I think, because they're not naturally going to get wide open. They're not going to create, spots where they're just flashing wide open, whether the scheme helps them or not. You got to just give them easy touches, handoffs, coming out of the backfield. Trey Palmer coming out of the backfield is an instant mismatch. Whoever has to cover him, whether it's a linebacker, whether it's a safety or a corner who's trying to cover him while he's already at full speed coming up the line of scrimmage. We see the Dolphins do it a lot. We see the Niners do it a lot. Come up with creative ways to do that. That's on Liam, man.
Andy Stone says, wouldn't it be that Cohen doesn't trust Baker? There could be some of that. Baker's not the most accurate or accurately, I don't know what I was talking to say. Baker's not the most accurate downfield. That doesn't mean you still should take some shots.
Yeah.
You don't always have to be exact, especially with a guy like Mike Evans. Just ask Jameis. Throw it up there and let that guy come down with it. Yes, he's not a spry chicken right now, and he's running on one stick, but I don't care. You put the ball in his vicinity, and there's a good chance he's going to be the one to come down with it. I think they're minimizing risk. And right now, the running game is successful. The underneath pass game, the screen game has been successful. I think we've surprisingly been able to still score some points, even without Godwin and Mike being in the lineup for a while. So, maybe it's just that the recipe's been working, but it looked ugly yesterday. It looked like we really, outside of those passes to Mike, had no real options in the passing game.
I mean, it could just be a bad game. Could have been a bad game. I don't think Graham Barton. Last week I said Graham Barton played his best game in the NFL at the NFL level. This week it looked like he played his worst game in the NFL level. He just didn't look good. He got blown up a lot of times. He just, and he's a rookie, so I don't bash him. I don't put too much on it. It just is what it is. He has his ups and downs. He's going through a learning curve. Remember, he played left tackle at Duke up until his draft. It's moment. So it's not
Bucs
like
by
you could
30.
just go back,
Bucs
right?
by 30 in the chat says the weaknesses at center. What do you think about that take? From that particular Bucs fan.
From that particular Bucs fan, first of all, that's a Steelers fan. He's been rooting for the Steelers center since day one. So that's, obviously a skewed
he's not even a Bucs fan anymore.
Not even a Bucs fan. So we're going to move on from that. So listen, we talked about the offense, Stank. Let's talk a little bit about this Bucs defense. They struggled at times, but even with how ugly it felt on that side of the ball, you can't pretend that they also didn't somehow keep us in the game at times when the offense was absolutely shitting the bed, in my opinion, because the Bucs did come up with some stops at times, and other times they looked like they had no idea what they were doing. First half game plan by Todd made no sense to me, playing off the wide receivers that far off. In the second half, they seemed to be a little bit tighter on them, but then other times they'd still come off of them. But man, they struggled. Mike Edwards goes down. Izzian has one of his worst games ever. He just didn't play well. Antoine made some plays, also missed some plays. KJ Britt, he ends up going down. We got JJ Russell out there doing KJ Britt things. Levante David pretty much played, I think pretty solid. But overall, as a team, they just, they're missing. They missed some tackles and missed some sacks. But if we're talking about offense versus defense yesterday, which unit played better, Stank? Honest opinion. I don't even know what my answer is.
Offense. The running game did its job yesterday. Defensively, it's weird because I'm sure, Todd Bowles is like, look, they missed another field goal. He's okay with giving up all these yards and playing red zone defense, and we played good red zone defense yesterday. So I think some of it justifies his soft play, trying not to give up the big. Listen, there is really no explanation for what he does, honestly. There just isn't. I'm not an NFL defensive coordinator, but I just don't understand why you'd want to make it easier on a guy who's.
I think Stank, his system simply doesn't work without a pass rush, and when he also has injuries on the back end of it, he's overthinking trying to protect those guys. Like I've said all season, just play.
Sure. But Sammer,
go up there and just play aggressive. And if you get beat over the top, who cares? You get beat underneath anyway. Who cares? What's the difference?
But Sammer, he does try to manufacture a pass rush. He does bring exotic blitzes and drop guys into coverage. However, please explain to me why, if you're blitzing, right, and you know what side you're blitzing to, why you're still playing off on the hots. Please, somebody explain this to me.
I can't explain that. That's
I've been saying it all year. Fucking sense whatsoever. And yes, Jamel Dean needs to go. He just needs to go.
He's gone.
Right. He doesn't need to be on this football team anymore. I don't want to see him anymore.
I think some of those things you said he's trying to generate pressure, but here's the problem: the 5-man pressures were handled easily by the offensive line of the Panthers. The 6-man pressures handled okay. But you got a guy back there who's athletic enough to extend that play. And guess what happens? If those 5- and 6-man pressures don't get there, guess what? You have 2 guys less in the pass coverage at this point. And we already know how bad the linebackers are in that. We also know we have 2 safeties that shouldn't be out there on the field at that point. Then you got Izzian running around without Tyke Smith. And so it was a perfect recipe. If you're not going to get home on those blitzes, you're going to get picked apart. It doesn't even matter how good or bad the quarterback is. I mean, the Giants, if they had even a semblance of an NFL quarterback, he probably picks up a couple more first downs and they score a couple of touchdowns in that game last Sunday. But yesterday, you saw it on display, man. If you can't get to the quarterback and you're bringing extra bodies, you're taking bodies away from the coverage unit, and that kills us. And they killed us all day yesterday, in my opinion. Bend, don't break, yada, yada, whatever. But if it's me, man, I say front 4, go get the fucking quarterback. And if you don't, at least I got more bodies back here, and let's press them. Let's get as tight as coverage as we could possibly get, and just make the throws tougher, and hope that the ball bounces up, or you get your hands on it, or they drop it, or the ball doesn't come out at all. But he makes it so much easier for these guys when before their back foot is down. Stank, you saw Bryce. He knew where he's going. He was getting the ball ready. That's too easy, man. And there was one play where Jamel Dean was like 20 yards off the fucking wide receiver, man. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? He's not like, I know he's a speedster, that kid out of South Carolina and Leggett, but come on, dude, he hasn't done shit all year that matters. You got to make him earn that kind of respect. This isn't fucking Jamar Chase out there. And it's mind-boggling. And, he's answered before saying, I let the guys decide how far or how close they want to play. But, man, at some point, you got to fucking say, hey, we're playing man press. Get the fuck on the wide receivers. And that was the frustrating part of the game yesterday. But they still kept us in the game at the same time, which is even more frustrating. But I think that's more the Panthers' offense, right? And then our offense didn't help them. And, of course, our punter, I want to, that's the next topic. I've never given a punter a topic on this show, Stank. But he's got a topic.
What punter?
Yeah, exactly. The one time I know the guy's name is because I'm so furious I actually looked up this dude's fucking name. Do you have any more to add on this defense thing, Stank, before I move on?
I do. Vita Vea didn't play particularly well yesterday. Definitely gassed out in the second or the third, fourth quarter. Really, Cansey's the only one that I feel like has a presence out there. Yaya flashes, but you can't do it with 2 necessarily. we just need more, man. You know, I get why he wants to rotate, because a guy like Vita can't be out there all those snaps. Clearly, you know, in crunch time, he was a no-show. And you got to give it to the other team. Bryce did what he had to get away from the rush at times. Our linebacker play has been dreadful outside of 54. You know, and they really hurt us underneath over and over and over and over again. But it's not like their receivers necessarily killed us with anything special either. It was just pitch and catch for the kid. So yeah, I you know, it's frustrating. It's a dead horse that we've been beating and beating and beating the entire season now, and it was no different against this Carolina offense, which is not good. Just isn't.
At some point, the horses up front, I think, are what's ultimately killing this team. No edge presence at all. Even though Nelly made that play in overtime, that was on a run rep. Yaya's getting there, but he's not. Like you said, the only true sack pass rushing guy that we have is Kalijah Cansey and Vita Vea, and you can't rely on those two inside guys, because at some point they're going to put 3 or 4 dudes there with a back and just make sure those guys don't get that pressure up against a good team. And then what are you going to do? I don't see Yaya getting to the quarterback. I don't see any of these edge guys generating anything. JTS didn't play in the game yesterday, but it felt like he was in the game, if you know what I mean. Chris Braswell, young, doesn't do anything.
Zach Bucs by 30 says Carolina was holding like a motherfucker, 0 calls. No, nobody holds our guys. What are you talking about? We don't get any holding calls because clearly nobody's holding our guys at all. None. They never call holding penalties against our defensive line. Never.
I think the referees were coming after us because we knocked their guy over by accident.
Well,
fuck that guy.
V Jones going out. Vi Jones. I don't know how to say his name. Dude sent a message early, which I loved. Okay, I thought that was the way to do it. You want to send a message, you send it early. Sent it on the first drive. Okay, it was even the first TV timeout. He said, "Fuck your ref." But yeah, somebody mentioned in the chat too. It was one of the worst officiated games in terms of the trenches that I've ever watched. But again, they made excuses almost from the very beginning when that guy got injured. Oh, it looks like they're not going to be able to call holding too often because the guy who's there to call those calls is not going to be in the game now. And you saw Yaya Diaby get mugged. And I don't know what it is, Stank, but when I watch other games and other teams, when they get held, they throw their arms out. Like, they really act it up and they get the calls. We don't have an acting coach on this team, I feel like, right? We don't sell the penalties enough, in my opinion.
No, we don't. Cali Buck's not a big fan of intern, is he? He's been coming after you all game long, which he tends to do. You know, he doesn't get any interaction with any other humans very often, but it's good to see somebody else getting roasted by this clown. And it's not just me. He said,
wow, Cali Bucks, I feel the love. Thank you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I mean, he's always full of love, but he's coming after you specifically. Well, he called you a receptionist earlier.
I saw that, and I'm going to let him have it.
Made me laugh a little bit.
I do like that. I do like. We'll call you Receptionist Izzy. I kind of like that a lot, man, because you're
Sam, you have a call on line 3.
Yeah, you're already reading the super chats. But listen, before I forget, you motherfuckers hit the like button. Okay, that's 1. 2, if you're new, hit the subscribe button. And then 3, in the comment section, let us know if you like or don't like intern Izzy having the ability to even speak on a podcast on his first appearance. All right. He's behind the glass, he's behind the curtain. I actually have him in a closet. I have him in one of my janitor's closets because I don't want to see his face and I don't want to be distracted, by, just somebody who shouldn't be in my house. This is a new thing.
If you donate $5, he gets silence for 5 minutes. Donate 10, silence for 10 minutes.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Donate 20. I mean, you guys can do the math.
If you want him gone for an episode, it's $200. It's
by the
pretty
way,
cheap.
The money goes to him. So
God damn, I think someone done put some money in already.
See, I'm trying to make you money, Izzy. Welcome to Loose Cannons, Mac.
I appreciate
what up,
it.
baby?
So real quick, Jonas Stecker, he said, say goodbye in the off season. KJ Britt, Russell, Hall, JTS, and Nelson, and even Greg Gaines.
Yeah, I don't know about all of them leaving, but yeah, I'd like to see Greg Gaines go home for sure.
Holy shit. Mac gifting 10 subs. Look at Mac coming in with the biggest dick in the chat.
Membership gifts. Look at that. That's pretty solid. All right, Stank, listen. Some guy named Trenton Gill was an absolute mess yesterday on the field for the Bucs. Okay? A 22-yard punt led to a touchdown. A botch of a kickoff that gives the ball to the Panthers at the 40-yard line. At that point, you only need a couple first downs. You're in field goal range. End up giving up another 7 points because of that. So a punter, okay, in the NFL in 2024 somehow gave up 14 points in one game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers yesterday. Trenton Gill, round of applause for the absolute dog shit fucking dumpster fire that punter was yesterday and pretty much all season. I never understood why he even saw the field. But hey, guess what, Stank? He is now unemployed. I called for it this morning, right? First thing I tweeted when I woke up, I said, I need Trenton Gill cut today. I even said they shouldn't even tell him. They should let him find out on Wednesday when the guy at the gate doesn't let him drive through to $1 when he comes in for, practice. But I don't know if they told him or not. But listen, my de facto GM here, I took care of it. He's gone. He's no longer the punter. I guess we have a punter on the practice squad. Not going to spend too much time on this topic other than just to kind of round of applause that he is fucking gone. I think we deserve as Bucs fans a moment of joy that Trenton Gill is no longer the Bucs punter. Like, fuck that guy.
It doesn't surprise me. Worst special teams unit in the NFL outside of Chassé, which I don't really like that guy either. Stupid fucking face and stupid beard. But yeah, none of it makes terrible kick returns, terrible punt returns, having Bucky back there at that particular moment. Don't get it. Doesn't make too much sense to me. Whoever this new special teams guy is, I wish him and Trenton should have left on the same fucking bus out of town, to be honest with you. Don't like that guy.
No.
How can you be as bad as we are on special teams? How?
We actually tackled better than we've ever tackled this season on special teams coverage. I'll give him credit. But other than that, man, I'm with you.
No, he gets no credit. None.
No credit. No, I'm not giving credit. Your punter gave up 14 points. I mean, listen, I could have picked any human being out of that crowd in a Bucs jersey, plopped them in there, and I guarantee you they would have kicked a 22-yard punt. I guarantee it. Like, what are we doing out here? And then the guy who's the announcer at one point was like, yeah, they must have touched it. They went to the replay. Nobody got close to him. He just kicked a 22-yard punt out of his end zone for no reason. Just I feel like kicking it bad. Like, how do you miss the ball in the NFL?
All of our kick returners look like it's the first time they've ever seen a football.
Yeah, that's
all
true.
Of them. Like they don't know what to do.
They don't know the rules.
They don't know. Do I field it? Do I not field it? Do I let it bounce? They just look fucking confused back there.
And other times, instead of letting it bounce out of bounds, they go and grab it. Have you ever seen? I don't know who did it. But there's a play that I've seen so many times on different videos and whatnot, where the guy steps out of bounds and then reaches for the ball that's inbounds, touches it, and that ball is now considered out of bounds, 40-yard penalty. Bada bing, bada boom, keep it moving. That was awesome. Okay? We don't even know what to do. Like you're saying, when the ball bounces, it's like pandemonium back there. And we get to the 10-yard line. It's like, dude, whoa. And listen, I'll be honest, Stank, I don't know the new rules. Apparently, if the ball hits into this in that zone and then pops into the end zone, you only get it at the 20. But if it pops into that zone, you also have to catch it and return it. I don't know what the rules are exactly. It's been unclear from day one. But man, when it hits your hands, you got to know.
Izzy, look that up and clarify the rules. If it bounces within the 10-yard line, are you forced to return it, or can you let it roll in the end zone and take a touchback? Find that out for us, Izzy.
I know that the touchback would not go to the 30. It goes to the 20 or the 25. It just doesn't go to the 30. But also,
you can still, if it bounces, you can still feel it in the end zone, take a knee, and get the ball.
Correct.
But you're saying you get it at the 20 and not the 30.
Correct. But someone also said yesterday that if it bounces inside that zone, you're forced to catch it and roll. If it doesn't bounce once into the end zone, I don't know. But I've seen guys let it bounce and they get at the 20. So I don't know. As long as you don't touch it, you can down it, according to the Steelers fan in the chat. I don't know. So Izzy, look that up, figure it out. We're gonna move on to the next topic. Stank, we talked a little bit about this, man. I feel like it needed its own topic. Offense struggled with penalties yesterday, but Liam's play calling drove me mad yesterday. There's some weird shit happening that didn't make sense. It took them too long to lead on the offense's ability to run the ball, and when they finally did, they kind of straightened up, got their feet back underneath themselves. But then other times, it's like you're running the ball really well, you get in a second and fun, and I get it. You want to take a shot, you want to attack the defense, and you want to catch them off guard because it's second and short. You can usually take a shot on that kind of play, or they don't know what you're gonna do. But then he goes empty, and when you go empty, me personally, I hate telling the defense what they don't have to guard. And when you go empty, you're telling them, hey, you only got to worry about one thing. I'm going to pass the ball somehow, or there's going to be a quarterback draw. But bum ankle, so the quarterback draw is not happening, obviously. But then again, on 3rd and goal or 3rd and 1, they needed 1 for a first down inside the 5 or 2 for a touchdown. You go jumbo package with every tight end and offensive lineman on the team that's never, ever caught a pass. So you know what you're telegraphing at that point. You're going to run the ball. And what happens? It gets blown up. We lose yards or kick a field goal. Again, leaving points on the field there. Liam's had these moments throughout these games, in my opinion, if I'm nitpicking about it. Against the Falcons, he did it against the Chiefs a couple of times. It didn't look good yesterday at all. He had too many moments like that yesterday that I think hurt the team. Penalties obviously hurt a little bit, but a lot of Liam wasn't right yesterday. You get that feeling?
Yeah. No, for sure. Especially in overtime when you abandon the run and you have all the time you want. You can just do what's been working. And they started to get cute. Like you said, they went 5 wide. Baker took sack. I don't know. That was a bit puzzling. Thankfully, we got bailed out because, trust me, this entire fan base would have been coming after his head, especially losing the dime piece like that. You know, you lose to the guy whose job you took. He makes you look dumb out there, and you call your worst plays in overtime. That was frustrating to see. I don't want to get be too tough on the guy. I feel like his hands are tied behind his back quite a bit, and we've still been fairly productive, even without, like you said, the fucking engine and the transmission, which is Chris Godwin, and you've got a Mike Evans out there who's still caught 120 yards and a stupid fucking touchdown pass, and everybody sees it. The guy's not playing at 100% and still out there putting up crazy numbers. So I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to shit on Liam too much because overall this season he's been the bright spot. But yeah, nobody's above criticism. Baker didn't make him look good either. So who knows? It could have, a lot of this could have been on Bake, just poor eye discipline, poor discipline in the pocket, looked frazzled and rattled in the pocket. And, I don't know if you have the topic bar for it, but we're going this long on the podcast, 40 something minutes in the podcast, and you haven't even mentioned the MVP of the game yesterday, Kyle Trask. Absolutely 100% completion percentage. It's probably why Baker looks so shitty out there, because you got that guy.
Did he throw a pass?
What?
He threw a screen pass. Yes, he did.
He threw one of the most beautiful, the best pass I've seen all season out of this team. If we're all being honest with
Izzy, how many yards did that screen pass did the wide receiver go for? 4 yards? 5 yards?
About like 2-3 yards.
Oh yeah. All right. So listen, speaking of that moment, it's funny they bring that moment
positive
up,
yardage. Is that what you said, Izzy? Positive yardage?
So again,
positive yardage, yes, but only 2 or 3.
When as an offensive coordinator, your job isn't just to call plays. There's moments in games where you got to feel out your guys, especially your quarterback, and you've got to get that guy right. Sometimes, Baker's hot from the start, ready to roll. Other times he's not, and it's up to the offensive coordinator, in my opinion, who should have a very good relationship with his quarterback, to be able to kind of bring him back down, bring him back into the game, get him back settled, get him comfortable again, whether it's easy reads, whether it's leaning on the run game a little bit, whether it's giving him some stuff where he doesn't have to think and just calm him down a little bit. Going to that moment where Trask comes in because Baker gets hurt. They get that 2-3 yard screen. They get a run, I think, on second down or first down, whichever other down it was, because he's in there for 2 plays. They're in 3rd and short. You bring Baker in, and you immediately go pass. He's coming off the ankle, right, or the whatever it was, the cleat to the back of his leg, the Achilles, whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah, he got cleated.
Yeah. And the first thing you do when you bring him back in there is a pass play. And it almost was a pick. Okay. No, sorry. Yeah. It was a pick, wasn't it?
It wasn't almost.
It was intercepted.
It was a pick. Yeah. I'm thinking about a different play where I was almost a pick. Yeah. So again, that's on Liam, in my opinion. And I didn't see Baker make a check. It wasn't an audible. That was on Liam. We've run the ball well. It's 3rd and short. Just run the fucking ball, dude. That's what I say. You got cute. And I know he shouldn't have made the throw. He didn't make Baker make the throw.
No, that pick was understandable. You just saw that tall drink of water out there trying to take your job and looking amazing. No. Right? You come back out there like, this guy's not taking my job, bro. Get me out of this tent immediately. He was pacing the sideline. I think even Liam was like, no, you're good, dude. Rest up. Trask got this. I read his lips. If somebody wants to go back and screen record it, he looked at Baker dead in the eyes like, Trask got this.
When Liam speaks, his lips don't even move, dude. What are you?
Yeah, and then Baker forced his way back on the field. Rude, first of all.
He called the play. He called the play.
Right.
He switched to play in the huddles, what you're saying?
Yeah, it was supposed to be a run play. Baker goes in there and says, you're not taking my job, bitch. And I thought they were going to fight there for a second, but it didn't happen. At least that's what somebody at the game.
You got to know. You gotta
he saw that whole thing go down on the
But you
sideline.
gotta know the dog you have, okay? You know when you got a pit bull and he's like, he's trying to get off that chain. You know you're walking on the other side of the street when you see a little old lady, okay? So you got your pit bull. He's on that chain. He runs back into the game. You know what he's going to do. You know what Baker wants to do. He wants to go out there. He wants to bark. He wants to bite whoever the fuck stepped on him, and you let him do that. You should call a run play there. There's other moments in the game where he would go empty, like I said, and he would just force it into being cute. Dude, do the tough shit sometimes and just do it really well. The Steelers do it even now to this day. Teams with really good quarterbacks, even the teams with the Chiefs, they have Patrick Mahomes, and at times they go 5, 6, 7, 8 straight plays where they hand the ball off to Kareem Hunt or Isaiah Pacheco when he's in the game. And it's just like, it has nothing to do with the quarterback. It's just doing the tough things well. Just keep doing them sometimes, man. Like Gruden would like grind it out, man. That was a play that I thought, obviously, he didn't make Baker throw that pass. It was a stupid throw, a terrible throw. Everything about it was bad. But you also you didn't have to call that. You didn't have to call that. You got to know your guy at times. It's nitpicking. I'm not trying to pile on Liam. I think he's a great offensive coordinator, especially first year. He's phenomenal. Obviously, the offense is in top 5 in almost every category that matters. He's doing it without Chris Godwin. He did it without Mike Evans on top of that. So he's doing his job. But there's little moments like that where, like, man, you could win or lose a playoff game with these little moments because every one of those plays matters in those bigger games. I'd like to see that cleaned up. Again, maybe he had too much turkey. Maybe he was uglier than he thought. Maybe he was a little upset that he had to go against, the former hot girlfriend, right? That could have played into it. Maybe he was overthinking
I think all those things. All those things. He almost got replaced. Former hot girlfriend Dave over there. He said he's going to wear elastic waistband pants to Thanksgiving. It was a bad week for that guy. Okay. You got to put that guy on a leash. And right now he's running wild. And, he had some Jameis balls out there and nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see that from that guy. So, you know what? He completely redeemed himself. He pulled himself together. He showed the composure, a guy who's matured. That performance at the end of the game, 30 seconds left. If that was Mahomes, if that was anybody else, they'd be fucking jelly donut glazing this guy all over every sports show right now. But it's Bake. But he did. He put this team on his back. Down your RB1. I think we can say right now that Bucky's RB1, right? Down your RB1. All the pressure's on this team. It's been a shitty fucking game up to this point. Your defense makes a miraculous play. Nelly made a miraculous play. That's some Rudy shit that happened right there at the end of that game. Yeah, miraculous fucking play. You go down there, just ice cold, hand the ball to Rashad. He gets down there. Hey, Bowles, you should have punched it in there. Can we all agree that trusting your kicker in a game like that, a little brave? Like I was ready to just continue to hand the ball to Rashad, let him punch it in and get the W.
Maybe, but then you just saw them do that and get the ball stripped, and you could have argued that they should have just kicked it right then and there, or just move the ball with the quarterback knee in it, right? Whatnot. It's a little further away. Maybe you don't want to lose the yard, but yeah, I kind of could see why they probably just said, "Let's get the fuck out of here. This is a chip shot. If you miss it, we'll just cut you and Trent tomorrow together as a group, right? You guys can drive each other home, whatever." But I will say one more thing about that interception. It's not absolving Baker, by the way. I'm not making an excuse for Baker because Liam called the pass play. You call the pass play, you the quarterback got to execute. But how about J-Mac's effort on that play? Not only to get to the ball, but after the ball gets picked, he just kind of like stands there, doesn't he? Like he kind of slaps it with one hand as he's going the opposite direction. Listen, man, I love this kid coming out of college. I thought he was awesome when we drafted him. We talked him up a lot during the training camps and preseason. And I really, 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 really was sold on this kid's going to be a star one day. But, man, his body language is absolute dog shit. Every week it feels like he has just the worst body language of any of the wide receivers out there when the ball doesn't go to him. Even when the ball does go to him, bad body language. I just don't like it, man. And somebody needs to grab that kid and be like, hey, you got a fucking opportunity. Chris Godwin is not coming back. You're playing, literally, you're the starter opposite of Mike fucking Evans. Wake the fuck up, man. This doesn't happen very often for these guys. Like, take advantage of it because right now he's playing like absolute shit. All of them are outside of Mike Evans.
You're seeing the complete spectrum.
Yeah.
Bucky who will punch anybody in the face. That guy plays angry. He's got a nasty attitude. He's limping into the locker room and he's pissed the fuck off about how the game went. Even in a win, he wasn't happy with how we won that game. The guy's not satisfied, after having a career game out there. And then you just got guys who are just like, yeah, all right, you're not going to throw me the ball, then I'm not really interested. And that's kind of what it feels like out there. If it ain't going to me, I'm not really going to put my best effort out there. And maturity, that guy's going to have to wake up, because you already know Jason, man. I'm sure it bothers him to see the lack of production from the depth everywhere on this team. It's really been bad. Been bad on depth on the defensive line, been bad the depth of the linebacker, the corner depth. So bad. So bad. Like, can somebody step up and make a play? So I'm sure he's looking to chop some heads towards the end of the season and bring in some quality depth. And I don't give a fuck if he is a second round pick, whatever round pick he was. I don't remember what round pick he was. You got to earn your stripes. Getting drafted doesn't mean you're going to stay on this football team. So all those guys, all that whole second tier wide receivers, man, it's time to step the fuck up.
We saw Trey Palmer have an okay year last year, ended on a high note, played pretty well in the playoffs. And what they do, they go out there and grab a guy who takes his job. So they're not going to hesitate for a guy who's obviously not playing up to what they're expecting him to do, especially when he's given the opportunity. Opportunities don't come knocking a lot in the NFL. That's just how it is, man, especially for guys on teams. More than likely, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans back here again next year. So you're not going to get too many chances. So you got to learn and you got to take advantage when you have those chances. And this is the year the Bucs have going in the offseason. They can actually spend some money on some depth pieces that matter. Get yourself an actual linebacker who can play next to Levante. Go get some corners possibly. Go get a couple edge rushers maybe. How they got money to spend for the first time since the Brady credit card has been paid off. So this is a big offseason. And so when you're a wide receiver, a young guy like this, you got to think no job is safe, man. Like Trey Palmer, like I said, played well, and his job was taken away from him. It didn't matter. So, I'd like to see these guys step up a little bit, man. Mike Evans maybe needs to be more of a vocal guy. I don't know how much of a vocal leader he is.
Game.
It's
his game.
But sometimes you have no choice, right? Sometimes you just gotta have to lead in a way that sometimes the guys around you need you to lead them, not necessarily how you prefer to lead. Levante David's been one of the examples of that. He's been the opposite of of the voice in the locker room, but he's had to kind of develop into that as guys have left. So I still think we miss a JPP.
I'll say what the GOAT said. Baker can't be everybody's friend. It can't be the all fun and games in the locker room. It's up to Baker to call these guys out. It's up to Baker to rip them a new ass when they're not out there putting in effort, when they're in there cutting up film and you just see guys, running lazy routes, not getting open, no attention to detail. Like that's the next step for Baker is to be that guy in that locker room. You got a young offensive coordinator in there. Like Baker's got to be that guy. And I think maybe he adds that to his repertoire a little bit as this officially becomes his team, right? Last year, he saved his career. This year, he's in the driver's seat. He's feeling good. Everything is going in the right direction with his career. Next step for Baker is to absolutely lambaste these young guys and get them on the same page and demand perfection out there. Because you're not always going to have your horses. We don't have our horses. Thankfully, we've been able to fucking miraculously find this running game, and Liam's been smart enough to maximize and utilize the talent we have at the running back position. So yeah, maybe that's the answer. I don't know. Yeah,
the other thing too, it drives me nuts that wide receivers false start. Like pre-snap penalties for wide receivers unacceptable.
Come on, man.
And like
Sterling Shepard again, dude. Like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
Trey Palmer, he did it. I believe J-Mac had one. It just, again, one of those things where those types of penalties, I don't think that's a discipline thing. That's focus. When you're not focused and you're not paying attention and you're looking at the guy across to you at the line of scrimmage, or you're not paying, you're not 100% laser focused in at that moment, you're going to have these stupid little penalties like that. And that's, again, these guys are young, but man, you got to grow up sometimes. You don't have a choice. And yeah, I think I'm with you, Stank. And I think Baker is that guy, by the way. I think he does do that already, but he does need to do that a little bit more. But here's the other thing. You got a guy, Raheem Jarrett. When he gets his number called, the motherfucker makes plays, man. Yeah. He catches the ball when it's thrown to him, and he makes yardage every time he touches the ball. I'd love to see him get more touches, man. Give him an opportunity. I know he's not politically the guy you'd have to give the ball to because you didn't draft him like you did the other guys, but I mean, fuck that. Sometimes you got to let the guy do what he's got to do, right? We saw David Moore, who was on the Panthers yesterday, by the way. He shined at the end of last year when we needed him to. He made plays left and right, and I think 3 straight games. Let Raheem Jarrett get more time on the field, man. I think it'll be better for the offense. Him out there running as hard as he runs, his route running is just aggressive. He wants to beat your ass. I'd love to see that outside, on the opposite side of Mike Evans, because I think that's what you need to make the offense truly work in the passing game. But we're nitpicking at this point to an extent.
We are nitpicking. Well. A W's a W. We're 6-6. We're tied with the division lead. We've got some games we should win coming up, but we should have won this game also without too much of a sweat. And we had it. It took a miracle to end up getting us a W. So people wonder why I am the way I am. I'm always pessimistic, and I'm always little dick energy, as you and Latte love to say. But this is why. This is why, because it never goes according to script with this football team. It just doesn't. It doesn't. And, knowing that it's a division game, you already knew it was going to be a little ugly. But no excuses, man. Whatever. We got the W. It's on to the fucking Raiders. And, hopefully we take the lead in this fucking division this week. That would be nice. That would be nice.
Falcons got some tough ones coming up. Got Kirk going back to Minnesota. So, he's going to be pressing a little bit. He just came off of a 4-interception game against the Chargers. They don't look very good right now, the Falcons. I know they beat us twice, but it's, everything's laying out in a way that
they don't look good against anybody but us, Sammer.
I know. So it's laying out in a way that the Bucs have a lot of the stuff in front of them. They can only control what they can control, but I think if they do that, they have a really good chance to somehow win this division. So we'll see, man. We'll see. Win is a win. And because it was a win, it means today is Victory Monday, and that means you can use discount code Victory Monday at loosecannonsmerch.com and buy anything from our site for 10% off. I believe we still have Black Friday sale going on, so I believe it's 15 or 20% off the entire store, I believe until the end of the night tonight. So make sure you check that out. We got a ton of cool swag in there. Got a massively popular Fuck the Saints t-shirt that's going to come in handy towards the end of the season, so get them now. But yeah, Stank, we win the game. Today's the debut episode of producer/intern Izzy's appearance on
Receptionist the Izzy. I like that. It's got a nice ring to it.
Receptionist Izzy. Yeah. You got anything else to add before we? Yeah, you got anything else to add before we exit tonight's show? By the way, we'll be back on Thursday night, folks, at 7:20ish as always.
Izzy, go ahead and read that chat. Izzy, go ahead and read that donation if you want. Real
I was
quick.
about to jump on that right now. Mac, $2. Best Bucs podcast. Stank is a generational talent. Really?
Wow. I didn't see that coming. That's crazy. What an incredible take. Probably the best comment of the night.
A lot of people were also they were kind of flabbergasted at seeing Trask in the game. I think Liam said, "Get your ass back in now" to Baker.
Sounds right.
I didn't see it. I didn't read it that way. The funniest thing was when Baker's down, he's writhing on the fucking field. The whole team, all the trainers around. They show Trask on the sidelines, and he's like looking at butterflies.
He didn't even know.
He's like, man, look. I wonder where I'm gonna go to get some food after the game. But he had no fucking clue what was going on. And Guru, by the way, y'all make sure you follow Guru on TikTok, on Twitter. That's our guy right there. He said, "Yo, I need y'all for an interview this week at the stadium." Done, Guru. Make sure y'all follow him. He also is a Bucs podcast content producer and does a whole lot of fun stuff. So hop on Twitter, Guru. If you want to put your Twitter handle in the chat, go ahead and do that, man.
Oh yeah, one more thing. You guys were asking about those kickoff rules earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I pulled them up here. I was just waiting for the right time to bring them up.
All right, yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, hurry up.
Okay, so real quick, here we go. We're gonna cliff note it. So let's see. Pre-kick, kicker can stand by himself, kicking at the 35-yard line. Everybody else is at the 40. They can't cross until the ball touches the other person's hands. Outcomes. If it lands in the landing zone, which is that line from the end zone to the 20-yard line where the two guys are at, it's got to be returned. If the kick lands short of the landing zone, it's treated like a delay of game penalty on kickoffs. The ball is spotted at the 40-yard line. If it lands in the landing zone, bounces out into the end zone, it must be returned or downed. If it is down, the ball is spotted at the 20-yard line. If the kick hits the end zone, it stays in bounds. It can be returned or downed. If downed, the ball is spotted at the 30-yard line. If the kick goes into the end zone and goes out the back, it is spotted at the 30-yard line. A lot of rules for a very complicated kicking system.
I'm still confused.
But
can we go back to college ball?
But you just said if it bounces in that zone and goes into the end zone, you can down it. But you also said if it bounces in that zone, it also must be returned.
Yeah, those are the rules. And honestly, can we just go back to can we go back to like the way it was before, where like we have everybody lined up where they're supposed to, and like just car crash collision everybody into like a return?
They're not going to do that.
That's a lot more fun.
They're trying to get rid of the injuries with the head thing. But they're also trying to make it to where you don't get up and piss during the kickoff because the kickoff is pointless because nobody ever returns it. That was the whole point of this. Oh, man, if we kick it here and we penalize the kicking team by making them kick it here, then everyone has to return it. But it's not working out that way. So just give everybody the ball at the 25-yard line. No kickoffs. Fuck it. Just play like we used to play back in the day in the yard. Everyone starts at the 25. And that's it. Just go that way. Call it a day. No kickoffs, whatever. I don't give a shit. Hey, make sure you guys hit the like button. Make sure you guys smash the subscribe button if you're new, and leave us a comment if you don't or do like the injection of receptionist Izzy just popping his head in here and just kind of talking whenever the fuck he wants to talk, messing up our screens, not understanding any etiquette whatsoever. And also, I believe we witnessed him hitting puberty or possibly in the process of hitting puberty
right now
on the show tonight.
Live on the show.
Live on the show. Izzy, any last words?
First
all right,
episode.
Guys, we'll see you guys on Thursday. Go Bucs. Go Bucs.
It's kickoff, set it off. Go to Vegas, bet it all. Put it on the Bucs win, whoever they gon' play gon' fall. Don't say I ain't told y'all. Loose cannons gon' fold y'all. Yeah, the Heat be 9-3.